Okay, little buddy. Are we going anywhere this week? You think so? Yeah. Well, where are we going? Are we going to Germany?
I don't know.
Are we going to China?
No way.
Are we going to...
We're talking to Jenna.
Are we going to Japan?
Yes.
Jenna.
China. We went to China last week. Now we're going to Japan. Why are we going to Japan?
I'm turning Japanese. I think I'm turning Japanese. I really think so.
You ever heard of Asahi?
No.
Asahi too.
Pentax.
Tattoo.
Yeah, so what are we talking about?
Kikachi.
The Super-Takumar.
Get the fuck out of here.
The Super-Takumar. And the Super Multi-Coated Takumar. That's right, it's a 50mm 1.4. Is it any good?
Yes.
Yes, it is. It's quite a classic with the vintage lens users out there. So we'll find out how good it is together. Grab yourself something to eat or drink. Get yourself comfortable. And let's get it on.
Here I am, Vietnam. Rain is always coming down.
This is Camera Talk with Dr. Scott and his little co-host Dylan. And he falls off my leg. All right, back up here, co-host. All right. So you decided to do a camera talk with us. It's been weeks
Donna.
since he decided to do that.
Donna.
So anyway, what are we doing this week?
You just ate the most acid I've ever seen anybody eat in my life.
So what are we doing this week? We're visiting the vintage lens capital of the world,
One ticket to Tokyo, please.
the Takumar. I think everybody I know who's into vintage lenses has a Takumar in their collection somewhere. Some have the full range of Takumars. I don't even know what they are myself. I've got a few of them. The most common one I have is the 50. I've got a 55 as well, but 35. I think that's it. Yeah. Anyway, they are popular. They were one of the first ones that I got. They were kind of the gateway drug.
That was my skull!
Led me into the 100+ other lenses that I had out there as well. But what we're here to talk about this week are they're the same lens, but two models, I guess, or names. They were branded differently, but they are pretty much the same in that regard. All right, see ya. Thanks for dropping by. So anyway, he just comes and goes as he pleases, you know.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
It's the Dylan show. But anyhow, so he's out for now. He'll probably come back in a minute. But anyway, the Takumar. It's a 50mm 1.4. And, you know, just to step back a little bit, you know, speaking of Asahi, Asahi Optical Company. Of course, in Japan, it was Asahi Kogaku or something else, a bunch of other names, but it translated to Asahi Optical Company. Anyway, 1919. It's a long time ago, yeah? I forget how old I was at that time. Anyway, founded by a gentleman named Kumeo Kujiwara. Kumeo Kajiwara.
Over-the-top rendition of the Japanese accent.
Sounds like a samurai warrior. Anyway, he was making eyeglasses at the time. That's what he called it. Asahi Optical Company. 1923, he progressed into producing projector lenses. You know, projectors were, you know, the film thing of the day. Everybody going to the cinema and whatnot. Projectors were quite the thing back in the 1920s.
Why don't you come up sometime, see me?
By 1932, he had finally morphed into a lens manufacturer for cameras. And the first camera company that he produced lenses for was called Malta. Malta Camera Company. Does that Malta sound familiar? Well, it should, because that morphed into what became Minolta.
プロフェッショナルオートフォーカスミノルタアルファ9000
company. And a year after that, he started also providing lenses to another famous future manufacturer in the photography world, Konica. And then after that, he got into his own, and you know, Asahi started creating their own cameras and whatnot. And in 1952, they created their first SLR, which is the Asahi Flex. Yay! By 1957, they created their next famous one, next SLR, called the Pentax.
Asahi Pentax.
We know where that name comes from, right? Obviously, Asahi becomes Pentax later on. But also in 1957 is when the screw mount was first being, you know, populated out there in the world by the Prakticar cameras and whatnot. So the Pentax kind of copied that a little. But it became, the screw mount, M42 mount, became so popular with Pentax that it became known later as the Pentax mount.
Holy shit.
Instead of, you know, the M42 as it was used with the other European manufacturers out there. And then 1960 was the Spotmatic. Yay! Their, you know, cool SLR camera. And then 1964, you know, that's when they came up with it. But 1964 is when they really started selling it. And that was when the Spotmatic was married up with the Takumar. And the 1964 version of the Takumar was an 8-element, you may have heard this before, the 8-element version of the Takumar. And the reason rumored behind all of this is because at the time the Carl Zeiss planar 50mm 1.4 was king of the hill. And Asahi wanted that crown.
It's got to be the king.
So they created this 8-element Takumar to kill off Carl Zeiss's lens. So it was called the planar killer. Who labeled it that? I don't know. Where I don't see it in writing anywhere, so I don't know whether it was just a rumor of that. But they also continue with the story saying that that 8-element was so expensive that that Asahi was losing money with every single lens they produced.
Sell! I want you to get out there and sell, sell, sell!
In that realm. But they ended up taking that king of the hill position because they were labeled the best 50mm 1.4 at the time. And then in 1965, they said, all right, screw this. We got our crown, that's it. And they reduced that element down to a 7-element variation, to which what we'll talk about here. So anyway, so from 1965 through to 1961, we had the Super-Takumar. And then that was a single-coated lens, and to help because again they took away that 8 elements. They figured they'd give it an extra kick in the butt by doping or baking into the glass a radioactive element called thorium, which helped with the refraction, light refraction of the as it came into the lens. So it added value to the lens. So both of these, now this one's the super multi-coated Takumar, which was only produced 1971, 1972, but it's also thorium, and the rear element is also got thorium in the glass as well. It's one of the other misunderstandings by several people out there in the world. They think that the radioactive element is a coating, because we talk about multi-coating, right? So they think it's a coating that's like painted onto the lens, which is just not true. That's why they worry about it flaking off and, oh my God, getting into your frosted flakes while you're eating your breakfast in the morning and stuff like that. But it's baked into the glass. The only way it's going to harm you is if you crush up that glass and scoop it off and powder it into your frosted flakes, or snort it up a straw.
It's not really.
Or sleep with it under your pillow for days on end. Yeah, then you're probably not going to be a very healthy individual after that.
Out of $1,400,000,000. It's hard to even say it, it's so much.
But as far as it goes right now, I mean, just getting it close, it's not going to do anything. It's not that kind of serious radiation that's going to harm you in any way. So, and there's other people out there that say, no, it'll kill you, it's terrible.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Well, these are the same people who are probably climate change deniers, and the COVID thing was a Chinese hoax and all this kind of stuff.
I'm a very stable genius.
Probably these same people believing that. Anyway, but let me tell you, the quality of this lens is legendary. It has great rendition, great colors, nice background. The quality of the background, bokeh, looks great, and as far as like sharpness goes, wide open, it's nothing. It's not going to take any King of the Hill awards for that. The whole thing, if you want sharpness, you need to go in a range between f4 and f11 is going to help you with sharpness. But if you're just like shooting portraits like I do, taking pictures of Dylan and everything, then 1.4 is great for that, because you're not looking for razor sharpness anyway, detail. So anyhow, what else can I say? Well, how about some of the specs? Well, they share similar specs. They both have 7 elements and 6 groups. Their close focus is, typical for SLR lenses for the day. It was about 45 centimeters on average. The original Super-Takumar has 6 aperture blades. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, just to verify that it does have 6 aperture blades. The super multi-coated Takumar has, of course, the blades are reversed the other way on the super multi-coated Takumar, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 blades on the super multi-coated Takumar. Nice long name, huh? And 6 blades on the Super-Takumar. Now, the next version after this version.
You must tie her down on a bed and spank her.
Super multi-coded Takumar, they decided that, well, it is a kind of a mouthful to keep saying that. So they, somebody sending me a text message. So they just called it SMC, the SMC Takumar. And those for another, I didn't want to bring those up here. Those are for another video, another day. So just talking about these guys, you know, these two, because they are, you know, brother from another mother.
His brother from another mother.
But they're brothers. And again, so ranging from 1965 through 1972, these two kind of ruled the roost, so to speak. And again, they're both screw mount. Now the thing with the screw mount, when you're using a adapter today, obviously to use on your mirrorless camera, or you can use them on DSLRs if you want. But as you can see, there's a pin, and without that pin depressed, your aperture is not going to move anywhere. You can spin your, you know, aperture ring all you want, and you know, again, if it's not depressed, you know, it's not going to play well with others. So your adapter, and there's bunches of them out there. It doesn't have to be a fancy schmancy name brand one for $50 or something. You can get a cheapy little Chinese made one like the ones I use.
Ancient Chinese secret.
Which are like $5 or $10 now. I don't know, it depends on inflation. But there's a lip on the inside so that you see the screw threads. Of course, you can't see it from there, but I'll show you a picture. So you see that lip in there. That's where the pin gets depressed when you screw it in there, and that allows the again, aperture to do its thing when you're in manual or auto mode. So you have a switch either way on these things to go manual or auto. Now, of course, that's for using with your SLR. With your mirrorless camera, it makes no difference at all. So 6 blades, 8 blades. The earlier one was, or is, 230 grams. And the 8-bladed one is 250. Yeah, 250 grams. So 20 grams difference between the two for its multi-coating and its extra blades. Who knows? Obviously, there's some other. Actually, let me bring them down to minimum focus. Yeah, the SMC is a little beefier. The focus ring is thicker.
That's how you use it.
It's taller. The aperture ring is exactly the same, and barrel construction looks exactly the same. But again, the barrel itself is a little larger. Yeah, anyway, so here I'm staring at the barrel like it's some amazing thing.
That's weird.
So anyhow, the other thing with the thorium too, just to mention that with radioactivity, over time, your glass will begin to yellow as the thorium decays. You know, it's one thing with radioactivity. It has a decay. You know, it doesn't last forever. It'll eventually morph into something else. So again, going through the lens, I should open it up. So through the lens here, it is relatively white. We get a white background. I mean, there may be a shade of yellowing going on in there, but it was pretty yellow when I got it. And the way to de-yellow your thorium glass is with UV. And there's all kinds of stuff on the internet. You know, people say, oh, you can leave it out in the sunshine for days at a time or get special UV lighting. Well, this little lamp back here from IKEA, and I don't remember the name of it. I don't even know if IKEA even sells it anymore. It's been probably 6 years or 7 years since I got this thing. I use also an LED flashlight, same thing. And I guess there must be some kind of UV emitting, you know, light coming from these things. But you place that over the glass and leave it for a couple days, and take it out, and voila, clear as a glass of water.
Ça vous excite de vous taper cette secrétaire?
Depending on where you live, your water may not be all that clear, but you know, get the analogy, right? So anyhow, so again, the Super-Takumar, very cool. Super multi-coated Takumar, very cool. And the other ones also very cool. And the other thing too, you know, the age of these things, I mean, they're as old as I am.
At least we're not fucking idiots.
You know, and you know, their focusing ring is, you know, smooth as, now even the older one's even smoother than the newer one. You know, they're very well built. So anyway, just to get you like a sample anyway of what these look like, and you can find a gazillion samples on the internet. And again, since I haven't actually used these in quite a while, I think there was a little dust buildup going on here.
What the fuck is that?
So, let me clean that off, get that going. My front element looks okay, so I'm not gonna bother with that. So, let me put this on my A7R3. Let's see. Get my steady shot settings, because I was on 135 and I don't want 135, I want 50. So put that on 50 millimeter. Good to go. All right, so what I normally do is take a shot of my Canon M50, which I use to record these camera talks. And Dylan, don't break anything out there. And get you a shot of the writing on the nameplate, which is a 15 to 45 EFM lens, and just see how sharp we can get it. So I'll start at 1.4 wide open, and then I'll do 5.6 just to show you that. So where are we here? Wow, zippy focus. All right, there we go. So ready, 1, 2, 3. All right, so that's at 1.4, and let me stop down to 5.6. And same thing, get in there, 0 focus shift. So 1, there we go.
Stop it. Oh, fuck's happening? Oh, man.
Before I even got to 1, 2, 3. So that's 1, there you go. So that is the super duper Takumar. Actually, I'm not even going to show you the super multi-coated Takumar, because what the heck, they're the same thing.
Oh, thank God.
This one has more coatings on it, but since we're not outside or anything, the coatings I think aren't going to make that big of a difference. So anyhow, that is the lens. So give you some, again, sample photos, just for my own sake, because again, you can Google sample photos of the Takumars and they'll show you all kinds of different stuff. But just to show you what I took pictures of. Here's Dylan at 1.4. What do you think? Nice, huh? Well, here's Dylan at 5.6. Looking good as well, right? So here's some random other images of other stuff. You know, people and flowers and trees and ponds and bunny rabbits and rainbows and other stuff. Just to give you a sample of what else it can do. All right, so that is the Takumar 50mm 1.4. Okay, so what else is it going to tell you? Well, how about we, can I recommend it?
Yes!
Can Dylan recommend it?
Yes!
I think we can. Yeah, I think everybody should have a Takumar. If you're a vintage lens collector, there's millions of them out there, so hey, why not? And if you can get the 8-element one, get that. You're going to pay more money for it, and really there's not a whole heck of a lot of difference between them, believe me. Side-by-side stuff, you're like, it's pretty tough to have to pixel peep really to see any differences in them.
Same, but different. But still same.
So anyhow, if you're going to get one of those, it's a good collectibles item. So I can recommend it. So how about we give our little plug for our photo editing software. I always recommend that too, that you edit your photos, unless you're a superstar stud, and every single photo you take is a masterpiece right from the get-go.
Good Lord!
But for most of us, not. They can handle a little tweak here and there. So who do I use? I use Luminar. Luminar Neo. And why do I like Luminar? Well, for one, I've been using it for years, so I'm pretty used to what it does and its little quirks and things that work or don't or whatever else. I've grown with it. Luminar 3, Luminar 4, Luminar AI, and now Luminar Neo. Anyway, it works for me. I like it. It's a one-stop shop. Why? Because it's full of AI, right? And what does that really mean? Well, it just means that the program makes educated guesses as to what you want.
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
With your photo, and it applies things in one little click here, click there, so that you don't have to sit there and slide this and slide that and click that and slide that and try again and so on like you do with the other programs. So I like it. It speeds up my workflow. So it has some nifty stuff like spot and dust removal. What's that all about? Well, it removes spots. Now, why the heck do you have spots anyway? You know? Are you sick? Have you been ingesting radioactive thorium dust?
Oh, that's disgusting.
Well, it'll take the spots out of your sensor. Well, not really. It'll take the spots out of the background of your photo if you have a dirty sensor, because that's the cause of the spots in the first place, right? So let's say you're down at the beach, taking some photos of some hot babes on the beach. And, you know, you get home and you pull it up on your screen, you take a look, and those hot babes weren't as kind of hot as you thought they were. Because, you know, because you zoomed in and your eyesight was poor through the camera, and you just, I don't know, didn't turn out the way you thought it was. But you look in the background and you see some seagulls flying around and some spots in there. And you're thinking, what the heck are those spots? Are the seagulls crapping while they're flying or something? What's going on? What are those things? Well, it turns out your dirty sensor is creating spots on your sensor, or on your photo. So it'll analyze. If you go into Luminar and you click on erase, and there's a couple buttons at the bottom of that screen called dust and spot removal. You click on that, it will analyze your photo. It can tell the difference between a spot and a seagull flying off in the distance, and it'll remove the spots, but it'll leave the seagulls alone. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? So that's worth it right there if you, again, have a dirty sensor. Next one is power line removal. Same thing. In the erase field at the bottom, it goes dust and spot removal, then power line removal. Click on that. Now you're out there taking photos of some old buildings, and you think, oh, this one looks really nice. This will look sweet over my fireplace. And you get home, you pull it up on the monitor, and you look at it, and there's power lines all over the place. And you're thinking, how the hell didn't I see that while I was taking a photo? In the first place, you could have obviously moved to another angle to, so you don't include them. But it's too late. You took the photo, so you click on that, power line removal, same thing. The AI will analyze your photo and remove the power lines for you. Now, if it's a single power line, no big deal. If there's a boatload of power lines, like there are in my sample photo here, it may struggle figuring out what's a power line and what's a shadow or a line on the building or anything else. So it may leave a few artifacts behind which you'll have to clean up, but it still does a pretty damn good job. So anyway, those are worth their weight in gold right there. It has background removal, so you're taking some, again, nice photos of some hot babes, and the background's pretty fugly. So you want to remove that background, add something cool, it can allow you to do that. It has scene relighting. You got your light coming in on a weird angle or something, and you kind of want to shift it subtly to one side to get more of this side of the face in light. It can do that for you. Pretty cool. And it has other kinds of AI as well. I'm not going to go through the laundry list of what it has, but it's worth it. It's also very economical compared to some of the others that are out there. It has two different payment plans. It has a, pay monthly or yearly. I don't even know because I don't use that plan. Or it lets you buy it outright. And that's what I like to do because I like to buy my stuff so it's mine. Because if I pay for it over time, I'm going to end up paying more for it than I would have paid if I just bought it in the first place. So anyway, that's me. But other than that, the other thing with Luminar as well is they're produced by a company called Skylum, who is operating out of the Ukraine. And, everybody knows what's going on in Ukraine at the moment. And, it kind of helps support them as well. They're putting out this nice software and updates and everything else while bombs are going off and drones flying around and being overrun by the Russians. So anyway, support them. Other than that, how about you support us? And I don't mean financially, but, help support us by, getting us more exposed out there on the internet. Well, through YouTube, really. And what is YouTube like for that algorithm? Well, they want you to subscribe. That's right. How about this hand? Subscribe. That's right. 3 times the charm, left and right. Subscribe. Dylan just came in to announce that he needs to go poop.
It's airborne.
So anyway, we'll take care of that in a minute. So, besides subscribers, what else does YouTube like?
Talk it out, man.
Well, besides that, everybody likes to see that. Well, they like the thumbs up, right? And if you give us a thumbs up, we'll give you a little taste of Dylan's girlfriends, the Thumbs Up Girls. They've got, I don't know the name of their group or the name of their tune, but it goes something like this. Thumbs up, do 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 do. Thumbs up. Uh-oh. Yeah, aren't they cute? So anyhow, other than that, who are we? Well, I'm Dr. Scott. The poopy Meister out there is Dylan.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
And together we are all Modesty Photography. Yes, we're here to talk about tips and tricks about photography, vintage lenses, vintage cameras. Vintage cameras up there. Photography stuff, camera systems, adapters, filters, tripods, microphones, coughing. You name it, we'll talk about it. So anyway, I think that was all I wanted to say. So, should you come back next week? Yes! I think you should. Why? Because you belong here. That's right. And where do you belong? Well, this was Camera Talk with Dr. Scott and Dylan, who's outside and needs to be taken care of in a minute because he's stinking up the living room.
My God, that's disgusting.
So anyhow, thank you for dropping by. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for buying a copy of Luminar through our link in the description below.
Thank you.
I think I forgot to mention that. That's right. There's a link in the description below. Click on that link. It'll take you to Skylum. You can buy the Luminar through there, and it'll save you $10. How's that? What do they do with that $10? Well, besides that, they give it to me. That's right. I know Dylan wants it. Not to do the same thing with the $10, but he wants his $10. So anyway, so yeah, come on back next Friday. We try to do these every Friday. Try. Remember that's Vietnam time. So that could be the day before you, the day after you, or the same day as you, depending on your funky time warp. That's right. So other than that, I think that was pretty much it. So have yourself a great day. Have yourself a great week. Stay out of trouble. Or if you get in trouble, leave it in the comments below so we can all enjoy whatever trouble you're going through.
Yes, yes.
And we can share, right? It's a sharing world out there. So have a great day, and you're free to go. All right, bye-bye.
Here I am,